I had a stroke. It's been about a year and a half now. And when I first had my stroke, I looked all over to get information on what it's like to have a stroke. And there's a ton of stuff on YouTube about it, but there isn't anything that kind of shows the step-by-step journey that it takes to recover from a stroke. So I decided I would make my own video. So this video starts with an assessment of my circumstances right after I had the stroke. And it kind of moves through where I was at 6 weeks, where I was at 3 months, where I was at 4 months, where I was after a month and or rather a year and a half, to give you an idea of what the journey is like. Because many of these YouTube videos are just this person that has a stroke, and then the next thing you know, they're hopping and skipping through the valley and everything is fine. And I wanted to define more of the journey that I went through. So if you have just recently had a stroke, I hope this is helpful. Hi everyone, I'm doing this video. I've had a major stroke. You can kind of tell by the droop in my face on my left side, I guess it is. And I'm doing this video on my recovery because I'm hoping it'll be inspirational. But I wanted to document my journey just so that if you're a new stroke survivor, you can see what's in store for you. So I'm in the intensive care unit of the hospital right now. I was brought here by ambulance. I've got a couple of shots of B-roll that I'm going to splice in so you can see what it's like and see what the experience is like. And then this morning, in about an hour, I'm getting transferred to a... My stroke was actually pretty massive. I don't think I was expected to ever get out of that skilled nursing place or do much of anything ever again. But what helped me along was the idea. They say you only use 10% of your brain. That means even if I lost 10% of my brain, which I didn't lose quite that much, there's still 90% of it still to work with. And you can do a lot with 90% of your brain. So you need to play. Chances are good that your insurance company will let you pick your own therapist. I've done a separate video on how to select a physical therapist to get the most bang for your buck. Hopefully you'll find that and check it out. Little mental tricks like this to keep yourself going and moving forward. Rehabilitation center, long-term rehabilitation. So that's going to be where a lot of the action is going to be. So a lot of the footage will come from there. So thanks for tuning into my channel, and I hope this is educational for you. I've gotten a lot of information from YouTube channels on phases of stroke recovery to kind of pave the way for me, but I'm interested in seeing what my own personal recovery is like. All right, sounds good. Stay tuned. Thanks. This took a whole weekend or 2.5 days to be able to do. I decided that by the end of the weekend, I was going to learn to move one finger. So I moved my forefinger, and by the end of the weekend, I could move it maybe a 32nd of an inch. Through practice, it's gotten better where I can flex my whole hand. But when I first started doing this, it took 2.5 days to get the slightest little movement. And once I saw my finger move a little bit, I knew I was golden, and I pushed on it till I had this much progress, which is just moving your fingers, opening your fist, clenching your fist, opening your fist again and again and again. Repetition is what makes those new pathways. Before walking, I had to learn to stand and get up out of a chair. This is the result of actually a couple months' work to be able to actually do it while keeping my balance and get enough muscle strength to be able to get up. I first started out on one of those movable benches that you'll grow to love in physical therapy, and they can move those up pretty high, and you can kind of stand right off them. But as you go on, they lower the height of the bench lower and lower, and I went from 21-inch height to a 17-inch height I could claw my way off. And this is me just exercising after I had it down. 3, pull, pull, pull. Okay. Yep, this is a freaking milestone.
You are doing great.
Thanks.
How far you want to go?
Oh, not very much.
You want to go to that fire hydrant?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
actually go a little further.
Okay.
So I haven't done my 150-foot walk in a while. I can stand here and hold on to the rail while you bring my chair up.
Okay, is that how far
Okay,
you're
that's
going?
good enough. This is my progress another 6 months later. Now I'm using a quad walker. I've graduated from the Hemi walker, and I don't need to be as close to a wall because I'm not as risk of falling over. But you'll notice I'm still very highly supervised. But I am walking, so that's nice, and it's getting better each time that I do it. I do it several times a day. You really have to be dedicated if your walking is going to come back. You've got to practice it all the time. Just little short bits is okay. You want to walk long distances to increase your stamina, but little 10-foot distances to retrain your brain, just small applications with high frequency to relearn it. But then the long distance walks to get your stamina back. This is my progress another 6 months later. Now I'm using a quad walker. I've graduated from the Hemi walker, and I don't need to be as close to a wall because I'm not as risk of falling over. But you'll notice I'm still very highly. This is a little over a year out from my first stroke, and my first stroke was actually pretty massive. I didn't acknowledge how bad it was for a while because I didn't want it to discourage me. But I'm walking with just a single point cane now, and every once in a while I can kind of hit my stride and move the cane in my right hand the same as with my left foot. It's called a 2 point walk, and I can clip along at a normal speed. So it's coming back and doing better, and soon I'll be able to walk in the community with just a cane, and that would do for now. I mean, it's not the 100% recovery that I'm still looking for, but it's so far ahead from when I was stranded in that back. You just can't imagine. So I'm still working on it, but this is how far I am. Now that you can walk a little and stand up from a chair in a low surface, you want to start thinking about getting out into the community. But in order to get out into the community, you have to be able to use a public toilet. This presents its own challenges, and you have to master it before you can go into the public toilet, or you can get yourself into very embarrassing, difficult situations. So I've done a separate video on hints on using a public toilet and hints on getting up from it, which of course is the big challenge. But if you can use a public toilet, you'll be able to go almost anywhere and do a lot more things. And really, that's a big step towards recovering your quality of life. You want to start practicing getting out into the community, and you can do that by going out to a restaurant or a cafe or a coffee shop. Go with a friend so that they can help you in and out. But once you master that, you want to work on things like going into grocery stores. That's a little advanced for right off the bat. So I started with going into 7-Eleven. So, I mean, there's a lot of things you have to master. You have to find the disabled parking. You have to park in the disabled parking. You have to figure out how you're going to navigate your way into the store, how you're going to deal with the doors, which I'll warn you in advance have a tendency to be pretty heavy and unwieldy. The one advantage to being disabled, to be honest with you, is people will bend over backwards to open doors for you and help you out in general. So they'll get you into the store, but then you have to pick the items that you want and go to the cash register to pay for them and then get back to your car. Somebody will probably open the door. I actually did have to call 911. I fell. I fell down. Fortunately, it was on grass, so I didn't skin myself up too badly. But the reason I fell was that I overestimated my abilities. So be sure and be conservative when you first get out. Specifically, what happened was I dropped something and I reached down to pick it up and I got my balance so far off that I fell over. So it was just my own stupidity that got me there. It was quite embarrassing to have 911 come and help me back up, but they did, which they were very charitable about. So always make sure to have your cell phone on you. Don't leave it in your car. Have it on you. So if you fall and you need to call for help, you can do it. That's a way to maintain your independence. Always be within calling distance of help or for you to help you out. But I always take a bag with a handle, a canvas cloth bag with a handle into stores like this so I can put what I want in there on my way to the counter. And then once I get my purchases put into my bag, it's easy to carry to get out to the car. Because if they just give you a paper bag, if your left arm or uh, affected arm doesn't work that well, you can't really hold a bag with a couple of liters of Coke in it. You need something to hold on to with your hands in order to get it out to the car. So it's things like that that you need to consider. Also, how to handle money, how to handle change. But you want to start practicing it as soon as you can to get more comfortable with doing it. And the more comfortable you get, the easier it'll be, and it'll get you back to a regular life faster. So start working on getting out into the community. Baby steps, going with somebody else at first, but eventually going solo. This little brew pub that I went to, I was able to get in by myself, but when I was ready to go, I asked the bartender if somebody could walk me out to my car, and they found somebody to walk me out to my car, hold the door for me, make sure I didn't trip and fall, got me into my car, which was really nice. So I'm going to go back again because they were so nice to me. But if you ask, people will help you. So that's a nice thing to know. Don't worry too much about how you're going to get in and out of these places because a lot of them have door greeters there to greet you anyway, but they'll all send somebody out to your car with you, which is really helpful. Baby steps.
Baby step. They always work.
Well, I suppose they work if you're a baby. Okay.
You
So I hope you found that helpful. It's my story with a couple hints and encouragement worked in. I've got several other videos on stroke recovery. I hope you'll check them out and find them inspirational and help you on your journey. You'll make it back. Just work hard in physical therapy. Always work hard in physical therapy. Never blow it off because you don't feel like doing it, and never give it less than your all. Always give it your all. I tell all my physical therapists if they don't push me to the end that we and they are not going to get along. And I tell them that right off the bat, that I expect to work hard and I'm determined to work hard. The more you put in it, the more you get out of it. You'll be better before you know it.